Greetings, everyone. This is God Earth Goddess. Peace to other gods and goddesses. And I'm back with another video. I wanted to share with you my experiences with interdimensionals, as I call them, or as you would call them, extraterrestrials. And I have met them. I don't have a lot of experiences, but I do have a few that I wanted to just point out and talk about. So I have been communicating with extraterrestrials since I was about 3 years old. That's my earliest memory of communicating with them. I know my mother would tell me stories about when I was a toddler. I would sit up in my room at night and I would be talking to beings that she could not see, and she tried to record me. She couldn't record me, but I have memories of going into the dream realm in my sleep, and they would meet me there. And I remember they would stand around in a circle and they would talk to me, and I remember them whispering about things and telling me things, and it wasn't anything of ill intent. It would be things that was like information that I needed to know, or things that I was incarnated to do at that particular time or in my life. So it was like they were giving me like a boost, like a message to keep me going. That was around age 3 years old. And then I didn't start having other experiences with them until later on. I remember at my old house that I used to live in, I was standing outside, and while I was standing outside, I looked up, and in the sky was this beautiful thing that I saw in the sky. At the time I didn't know what it was, but it looked like if someone took the prettiest, biggest, sparkliest piece of purple glitter and put it just in the sky, and it was like this twinkling, like sparkly purple blob in the sky. It was beautiful. And so, naturally, like most of us do, I whipped out my phone and took a picture. And I remember after I took the picture, I'm looking at the picture, I'm like, okay, the picture doesn't even look like how it actually looks. The picture doesn't do it justice. And then I got a download right then on my phone that, hey, you shouldn't have snapped that picture because they saw you. So the extraterrestrials in that craft that I took a picture of saw me, and they was like, I got this message like, you shouldn't have taken the picture. And so, I go in the house, and the night goes by, evening goes by, everybody goes to bed, and I'm laying in the bed sleep, and I'm asleep. And like when you're asleep, you can feel when someone is looking at you in your sleep, and it will just wake you up. And I could feel someone looking at me while I was sleeping. So I naturally woke up, and I remember sitting up in the bed, and when I sat up, I saw a hologram, and he was standing in front of my closet. It was like a holographic figure. I could see straight through him, but I could see him, but I could see straight through him. And it wasn't like a ghost. It was literally like a hologram. And it was an extraterrestrial, interdimensional. And he had a very big head, he had big eyes, and he had on this long cloak, and the cloak had like this collar that was like a tall collar like this, and it went around his head and came around the other side. It was like this tall, like a cup-like collar, and he was just staring at me, and very intensely staring at me. And I'm just sitting up in the bed staring at him. We're just staring at each other. And I didn't hear anything telepathically from him. We were just looking at each other. And it was for about maybe 5 or 6 seconds. And he slowly started to fade away. And he faded away. I remember I went back to sleep. And I remember thinking to myself, that was one of the beings that was in the ship that I took a picture of. And he was coming to see who took a picture. Later on, I found out that particular being was an Arcturian. And they were coming to see me because I'm an Arcturian starseed. But at that time, I didn't know. I found out about that later. So in other instances I've had with extraterrestrials, where I met an extraterrestrial in the dream realm. The reason I keep saying dream realm is because the realm that you go to when you go to sleep is an actual real realm. And so a lot of times these beings, they go through dimensions, they shift through realms. Earth realm is not the best realm for a higher dimensional being to be in, because you're not vibrating, like this realm vibrates very low. So these interdimensional extraterrestrial beings, when they vibrate, they vibrate higher than this realm. So coming into Earth is like a drag. It's like, oh my God, it's harder for them to exist here. So a lot of times when you have encounters with extraterrestrials, they will just meet you in the dream realm, because granted, it's not vibrating super high, but it's not vibrating as low as Earth. So you'll have a lot of experiences with extraterrestrials in the dream realm. So I was in the dream realm again, and all of a sudden I was at my mother's house, and it was the weirdest dream. But you realize dreams are real experiences. You're in another realm. It's not fake. So I was there, and my mom and dad were in the back door, and they're saying, "Oh my gosh, it's James Brown." And my brain in the dream was like, "No, it's not. It's not. James Brown is not at our back door." And so this being walks in, and they're like, "It's James Brown." And I'm like, "No, it's not. This is an alien. This is an extraterrestrial. This is not James Brown." And the extraterrestrial who it was, he ended up being dressed in all white, like a white cloak. I'm telling you, if you ever seen Star Wars, the closest representation is Yoda. Just think Yoda. That is what I saw. It was Yoda. And it was like Yoda. And so my parents ended up leaving the room, and there was this woman. She appeared in the room. She had long blonde hair and blue eyes. I think she might have been a Pleiadian, but I'm not sure. She was guided. He sat down on the couch, like on this big chair, and she was pulling me to sit on the chair next to this being. And I was like, I don't want to sit down. I don't know what kind of alien this is, because extraterrestrials, there's good and bad ones, and they can both meet up with you in the dream realm. So I'm skeptical. So she's like pulling me, and I'm like, she's nudging me to the chair. Finally, she sits me down in the chair, and this being is like, I'm from the planet Risk, which is spelled RIZQ, which is an actual planet, it's an actual realm. I looked it up. It's an actual realm, and I forget what type of being. I think it was just a Chowlin or Howlin or something like that. I have to look up these beings again, but they greatly resemble Yoda from Star Wars. And when I researched this particular being, his particular kind act as spirit guides for us while we're on Earth. So when we start going through spiritual ascension, they work on our behalf to help us wake up and help us from the other realms by, I guess, working on our behalf in other realms to advance our ascension process. So I think it's called Jowlin. I'm gonna look them up again. So I'll put in the comments the actual spelling. I have a book of extraterrestrials, and when I go back, I can find them in the book, and I know exactly who I met and what I saw. I put that in the comments as well. But yeah, and he was like, "It's nice to meet you. I'm from the planet Risk." He was like really excited to meet me. I was very skeptical of him, and I remember he told me a few things, but of course I don't remember all of it, because when you wake up, it's hard to remember everything. But that was another experience that I had with extraterrestrials. I also had an experience where I met the god Tahuti of ancient Egypt in the dream realm as well. It was a very pleasant experience. I don't want to say too much because of the type of rank that he has, but yeah, I met him as well. And so, those are like the main experiences that I've had with extraterrestrials. I have been abducted a few times. Normally, when I wake up, I'll be waking up at the tail end of the abduction, when they're putting me back in my body. And what I mean by that is your spirit leaves your body when you dream. And so a lot of times, like I said, the extraterrestrials will meet up with your spirit form in the dream realm and abduct that, rather than just abducting your whole physical body. So they were abducting my spirit body, doing what they needed to do, and then placing me back in. And I always wake up right when they're placing me back in, and I can feel my spirit sinking back into my body, and I'm waking up. A lot of times I can hear whispers where they're talking about me or talking about something. It's never a scary thing. I can feel wind around me in my bedroom. It's not a scary thing, because I know the aliens that are abducting me are not the bad type of aliens, that type of interdimensionals, extraterrestrials. And so those are just a few of my experiences. But if you have experiences as well with extraterrestrials or interdimensionals, just let me know. I'm going to wrap this video up before I run out of time, and bye-bye.